Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu-alaikum and a very warm welcome to World This Morning. I am your host Tahir and joining me is my wonderful co-host Fahim Bangesh. Fahim, pakhair lagle and assalamu-alaikum.
Pakhair lagle to you too and walaikum assalam and a very good morning to you and to all of you people who are watching out there. I hope all of you are well. How was your day, Hajra?
Alhamdulillah. So Fahim, I want to throw you a question. So since you and I are millennials and we grew up reading Harry Potter's books and also C.S. Lewis's Narnia, so there's a lot of conception of the magical doors in those books, right? For example, in Harry Potter, there's a room of requirement. If you really need something, a door will open up to you and there's a room which will have all of your requirements, right?
And interestingly, that's actually true as far as the universe is concerned.
Right.
According to the law of attraction, when you really want something, the whole universe conspires and helps you to get it, really. And that's actually brilliantly, it's shown in Harry Potter and executed in the books, yes.
And then in the C.S. Lewis Narnia book, we will see that the kids, they are playing and, they accidentally stumble across a door that opens a whole new realm out for them, right? And it's more modern appropriation you can find in the Stranger Things, where there's a different portal out there, a different door out there, and in a lot of other, fictions and fantasy world. So, Fahim, does this beg the question, do you think the world is possible where we can have a borderless world?
It's actually possible, and that's only possible with literature, because literature is something, well, I think we're going to be talking about literature in detail, but first, according to the details of our program, we have to go through the headlines first. And of course, Hajra, as you know, that the political front and the political scenario of the country is getting more and more interesting with each passing day. As we know that the DGISPR, Lieutenant General Babar Iftikhar, has announced that General's Headquarters has forwarded the names of 6 Lieutenant Generals for the selection of Army's 2 top slots to the Ministry of Defense. Also, in a tweet, he stated that the GHQ has forwarded a summary for the selection of Chairman Joint Chiefs of Staff Committee and Chief of Army Staff, containing names of 6 senior most Lieutenant Generals to the Ministry of Defense. Now we are to see what goes on in the future, because now the political front is getting more and more interesting. We do know that there is a bit of a turmoil in the country, but now what do you have to say about this, Hajra?
Okay, so moving on to the international front, unfortunately, a magnitude of 6.1 earthquake has struck an area of western Turkey near the town of Düzce. According to U.S. Geological Survey, the tremor was about 10 kilometers deep and struck about 170 kilometers east of Istanbul. Media report says there are no reports yet of casualties or damage, and there are also reports of Fahim of power being disrupted in the region, as well as some residents jumping for the balcony. Turkish Interior Minister said there has been no information about the loss of life. It was hit by a major 7.2 magnitude earthquake in 1999, which left at least 845 people dead. So we hope and pray that everybody is safe out there. And I think our sympathies and condolences are to the Turkish people.
Absolutely. And the most fortunate part is that there were no casualties and people just got injured. And we hope and pray, like Hajra said, that everybody is safe out there.
Right.
And now, moving forward, as we were talking about literature, literature is something that, Hajra, I believe, gives meaning to the words. It gives life to the words, because you see a language, but you don't see really the language speaking to you. And when you read good literature, you see those words speaking to you.
That's very true. You can empathize with that. There's a whole lot of catharsis going out there. So in order to have a more broad conception and the conversation regarding the literature and what does it mean, merging facts and realities and presenting a new world out there, how much it is a reflection of a real life, we have a wonderful guest in the studio who has written actually 2 books, and I would like to share them. One is called A Lone Long Walk, and you would like
the
to
other, yes, I would. And like you were mentioning, A Lone Long Walk is the first book, and the other is When the Clouds Meet. And our esteemed guest and the esteemed writer is Mr. Tahir Mehmood. Tahir Saab, welcome to PTV World and in the World This Morning, and good morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you with us here today, sir. It's always good to meet like-minded people, always good to meet people who write, who are creative. And definitely, I think being creative has its own negative impacts in the sense that you are very, very sensitive. Don't you think so?
I think, life as it is offered to us and the way we live the life during this journey, actually, we have a lot of experience. And one is the outward journey and the other is the inward journey. And the inward journey involves a lot of emotions and a lot of feelings. So that makes us actually, as we see outward, and the outward world is not as we wish to be. And here comes the contradiction. The inner world may be the idealistic one, maybe the best one you have in your dreams and aspirations, but the world outside probably may be different. So the paradox becomes, that kind of a contradiction, and that leads to your sensitivity, and you become sensitive, and at some time you brood, you become sad, there's a lot of sorrows in your life also. But that's life, and that makes the life really beautiful.
Wonderful, sir. So you've written the book, The Lone Long Walk, right? And it explores the concept of the loneliness. And we have seen Fahim, especially in the pop culture, in the mass culture, in the Hollywood, there's also conceptualization of the loneliness. And we were yesterday talking about how protagonist wants to build a very multi-billion-dollar empire out there. He's living alone in a very studio apartment, and he's running after money. But your conception of the loneliness, it is totally different.
Totally different, yes.
It is set in a patriotic sense where the stories are exploring the journey of a military person. How would you explore the concept of loneliness in your book?
Yes, as the name of the book is, I would say that once you have ideals, once you have aspirations, once you have dreams to follow, one limitation I have observed in life that it is probably very difficult to communicate properly what actually you think and what actually you want in your life. And rest of the people can be companions, but may not be the one actually who can really understand your soul, heart and mind. So that makes the journey a kind of a long, long walk. Like in this story where actually there are different stories, like love for motherland and duty and passion and everything. But one story which is actually carries this, the essence of the book, and that's a story
It's
of a
close to
revolutionary.
your heart.
Yeah, that's the story of a revolutionary. Because usually, actually, we read about revolutionary people, we watch them in movies, we fantasize them, we idolize them. But one thing is ignored, and that is the life actually which they live. Because any revolutionary, anyone idealist who lives a life of, this kind of life, he has dreams, he has passion, he has a spirit of great sacrifice, which makes living itself very difficult. And all those who live along with him, actually, I could say that it makes the journey a bit difficult. So, and the person also, like, if any person who has empathy and he feels love for the poor, love for the downtrodden, love for the deprived and everything, but that may be only his ideals. And all those along, who move along in this journey, probably they may not understand him. So that comes the inner word, feelings of loneliness, and that also brings the resolve in him that actually he is a lone man, but he will carry out with the struggle. And this journey goes on, and that makes the life and the life of that person, because that every person lives a different life.
So,
And
also, before I move on forward, I always ask this question whenever I meet a creative person, whenever I meet a literary person. What actually inspired you to actually write a book? When did you think that okay, now I think I can write a book? Because writing a book is not something small, not every Tom, Dick and Harry can go and write a book.
I think probably one basic thing which led to this was that I was a very keen reader.
Right.
I've been reading a lot. So now once actually I lived the life and the way it came to me, there were a lot of, one is the knowledge which you get through books, but then through your experiences and
Through
observations.
Yes.
So those observation experiences and which actually made the life, with a lot of beauty, challenge, hardships, difficulties, everything, diverse. So in this part of age, I thought that this is the time that actually I should share these experiences with the others and observation and even ideals, because you learn, and I think that's the collective wisdom, The people who started, with the basics of the knowledge and the basics of the words and the basic of the, the books. And today, after 21st century, the human beings have traveled a very long journey. And that contribution is done by the books and by the words and by the language. You said that once it comes to the part of literature, it gives meaning to the words. So that inspired me actually to share my inner world to the world and the outer world which I saw and the experience and
And
what
thank
I've
you so
learned.
much, sir, for sharing your journey and for writing a book. Because yesterday, Fahim, we were also talking about the fact that there's a lot of scholarship emerging on the Pakistani society by the Pakistani authors that is really not dependent on the very binary lens of terrorism and on the binaries of what you call securitization, and especially which Pakistan fell through in the first decade of the 21st century. And I do feel that it is also the responsibility of Pakistani authors to project their counter narrative, which I felt that was also very skewed with the lens of terrorism. Because if you read the Kamala Shamsi or Mohsin Hamid, they were, portray a person who was conflicted between different identities, and then he's suffering from a very polarization that is going on inside the society. I mean, we are much more than that, sir. And also, you have explored the conception of dislocation within your novel. So being belonging to military family, I also can relate to that, because we're constantly changing our station. But then for the soldier, it's very difficult or different. I mean, serving in the mountainous terrain, in the rough terrain, especially in the heights of the mountains. How do you have explored that, and how does that goes into your book?
I answer you, in two parts. One is that one of the core theme of the books is the love for the motherland.
True.
Because my own feeling is that yes, we can sometimes we feel frustrated, sometimes we may not actually see what we want to see, but the love for the motherland and the motherland itself is a hope which is with everyone actually. If the motherland is there, that we can meet out our dreams and whatever ideals we have, whatever better tomorrow we want to see, if we have a motherland, we can cultivate that. We can cultivate our dreams and see the better future. So one thing. Now come the soldier part. Soldiers, it is by a phenomena, they protect the motherland. And one thing which is about soldiers, which is I think often misunderstood, is that they are just taken as stereotype, that people with no emotions and they are just mechanical and they do their duty. But in fact, they are very much human beings. They have emotions, they have families, they have relations. And soldiery is not a phenomena which takes just in a moment. It's a way of life. It's a very long journey. Once these soldiers, they move away from their families, homes, loved ones, and go to the difficult terrain, difficult conditions, in war zones. So that does not start and end in a moment. It's a very long journey. And in that, actually, they see people, their friends, comrades dying, suffering, their stories, their pains, and their pride also, because motherland is the ultimate reality for them and the ultimate thing which they want to see in their life succeeding. So they sacrifice not only the love of their loved ones, but also their own life also. So basically, the soldiering is a very kind of a multi-dimensional thing, which is usually understood in one lens only. But I think they have softer feelings, they have love, emotions, and there are a lot of stories also there, which are especially in the war zones and difficult areas.
And also, in this shorter version of your book, The Lone Long Walk, you've written prose and poetry both, which I've observed. How did poetry come to you? Because I've tried multiple times to try poetry. I can't.
Really?
I really can't.
Okay.
In fact, I am not a poet, but there are stories which sometimes brevity is the essence. And I wanted to be very brief. And I wanted to leave it to the imagination of the readers to further explore it, to further, give it meaning to as per their choice. In this book, there are a lot of characters, but no one bears any name. They all actually characters who live among us, but I have intentionally not given a name to them. Same way the poetry, the brief ones, I left to the readers to explore it, to imagine it, to relate it, and that's how, the poetry part is that actually I wanted to be very brief and leave it to the readers.
And that's the
all.
beauty of it, because you haven't given it one particular certain perception. They say whenever there is certainty, there is a conflict. So you've made it open for the reader, both the books and the poetry part. That's beautiful. Now, talking about this book, now readers, viewers, as you can see, Where Clouds Meet. Now, sir, this is a novel which you have written and has a couple of characters, as I have observed. And even you have talked about a bird here. And again, like you were just mentioning, you have left it open to the perception of the reader so that they can think. You actually made the reader think that what perhaps could the writer mean by making this character and perhaps making them more empathetic towards the characters of how they feel. Could you describe your experience with the writing of this book?
I think there are three main characters are heroes in this book. One is a military captain, and through him actually I have depicted the life of the soldiers and the war zones and other things. Then there's a bird. Its name is Tutu, and he actually, let me tell about the bird. The bird actually is in the higher mountains, and he learns the basic art of flying and surviving. And one day actually he encounters, there are mountaineers who go there and they establish a camp over there. And the birds fly near to them, and then he thinks take them as other animals, kind of animals. And but he observed them with a lot of curiosity, because those people do multiple things, and there's a lot of ingenuity. And the bird becomes curious and starts following them and start learning the words of their language also. And about after some time, one day there's a snowstorm, and once again he goes to the camp of those mountaineers. They are no more there. So he thinks about it, and probably there's a river, and he thinks that they were talking about the rivers and the path along it. So he thinks that they must have followed the river and gone back somewhere. So he embarks on a journey along that river to find those animals which to him were really very, very interesting, and they were doing multiple things. He called them flamingos and other animals. And his journey begins. In that journey, he encounters a lot of things, to phenomena like survival and like knowing new things, and finally he reaches to the different worlds of the human beings, and through them actually he learns the nature of the human beings, the life which they live, and in that actually comes the pride, the pride, greed, ambition, envy, adventurousness, exploration, everything. And he experienced everything. Through this actually I wanted to depict the nature of a human being, how have they evolved, and what is their basic nature, because evolution is also part of the human nature. So the bird learns through human being the power of evolution, the power of curiosity, and once he ends up his journey, he comes to the conclusion that probably these birds were the life, because life keeps evolving, it's not static, which is different from his world. So he has a dream to go back and actually evolve the life which his clan or tribe or whatever, the birds they were living over there. So one is this character Tutu. He's chattering all the time, but then once he learns, he becomes less of a chatterer and more of the doer. And the third character is of a revolutionary, because once I was while living the life, I realized that everyone has dreams, and we have a passion to see our dreams fulfilling right then and there, but life does not offer us that privilege. So this revolutionary and how he dreams, how he struggles, what lessons he learned from the life, they're also in this book. And I think this book is especially for the youth, to know about the life itself, because it is diverse, it is very challenging, it is ecstatic, it's enigmatic. And if you make an endeavor to understand the life, probably you can improve the life.
And I think it's really important for the youth, like you just mentioned, the reality of life that you were mentioning, because when the youth, the young people, they're in the universities, they're in the colleges, all they think about, okay, it's a utopic world out there, We're going to go out of the university. We're going to get a good job. We're going to get married. We're going to get, a good family. We're going to get established. But little do they realize that it's really, really challenging, the real world. And I think you've done a brilliant job here by pointing it to the youth so that they can learn about the challenges of life in general.
Very, very true. And also, Fahim, there is a long debate going on, especially with the novelist, about the facts and the fiction, right? Also, I mean, the fictional, just bending or tweaking some part of the reality to make it fiction, attunes us to the very fictional nature of our true self or the reality. So, Tahir Mehmood Saab, you have created the character of Captain Ali in this book, right? Given life to that character. How much you can relate with the personality of Captain Ali in this book?
Well, it's said that you cannot detach a writer from the book he creates, or the words he writes actually. So I think, Ali has a few qualities which are usually symbolized by the soldiers. Like he loves his country, he is very adventurous, he goes to the mountains, he takes very difficult jobs. But then in the process, he learns the comradeship once he's there in the military, and he sees the suffering, especially in this captain actually, in one part of the story, he is deployed along the line of control in Kashmir. And over there, he sees the human suffering, the human side of this conflict which is going on. So, and once he goes to the war zone where actually he has to face the life and death choice, he also thinks about his family. He also thinks about his loved ones. So, not only I can relate with it, but I think every reader and every soldier and every young officer who will read it, I think will be able to relate to it.
Well, sir, first of all, I would like all the viewers who are watching these are the books A Lone Long Walk and Where the Clouds Meet. These are wonderful two books which I personally would like to read, because I personally would like to know the reality of life and how challenging life can be. Definitely, it's a must read for everyone. Sir, Tahir Saab, thank you so much. It was a total pleasure having you in our show. Thank you for taking out the time and being with us.
Thank you very much. Honor for me. Thank you.
Well, viewers, we'll be right back after a short break. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned to PTV World. Welcome back to World this morning. And Hajra, like we were talking about the challenges of life. Well, life is pretty challenging these days, and these days it's a must to know how to defend yourself. And I think self-defense is something crucial, especially not just for women, for men as well, because nowadays anyone can come up to you having a weapon, having something or the other, but you should be able to know how to defend yourself. And that's what we're going to be talking about with our second guest. Yes.
Fahim, before we start, I think it can become much more fun when we convert that self-defense into a sports, right?
Taekwondo,
right? So you're also a father for him, right? And you have a son. So did you taught your son Taekwondo? Or are you interested or you want him to
I'm badly interested if you ask me, but he's just too young right now.
Okay.
So yeah, but I will be definitely teaching him
Wonderful.
that in the future. Yes.
So, without any further ado, we would like to introduce our guest who happens to be Taekwondo coach, and he is Mehmood. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Salam.
Now, Mudassir Saab, Taekwondo, how long has it been that you've been practicing this sport? Sport, I would call it. Yes.
Actually, my sports experience it's started from 2003 and till now. I'm promoting it till 2013. I was doing as player, and from 2013 to till now, I'm doing as coach and promoting these sports and especially self-defense with the aim of healthy society.
They say the best part is when you have certain knowledge and you spread it rather than just confining it to your own self. And that's exactly what you're doing, Mudassir Saab. I'm very proud that you're doing that. And definitely, how many, roughly, if I ask you, how many kids or children, boys and girls, have you taught so far?
Actually, by myself, if I would say, it's more than 10,000. In self-defense especially because I'm doing, yes, and it's specifically because I'm doing self-defense programs with different, you can say schools, colleges, universities. So with some of them are orphanage as well. So it's more than 10,000 personally, it's if I'm counting in my profile. But if we'll go for our team profile, then it's I don't say like I can say accounting. So it's more than, I think it's in lakhs almost. It's we have trained in last 7-8 years.
I'm really glad that Taekwondo is emerging as a new sports because in Pakistan, cricket is given sort of the importance that other sports are not, and it's also very profitable. But now I see that there are a lot of young people, and I think also on our show we invited some of the young kids, young buds who are into the sports of self-defense of the Taekwondo. So I wanted to ask, what are the challenges that you feel are there in promoting this sport?
Actually, in Pakistan, we are you can say, because I'm young, so that's why I can do. Otherwise, it's not easy to do. It's not easy to promote sports here in Pakistan because our, you can say, our leading personalities of in sports, they are not sportsmen. They are actually politicians. So politics always, you can say, they can it's a. You can say nothing you can achieve if you have politics in your association or in your federation. So our federation, especially Taekwondo Federation, I want to mention that our federation have achieved big achievements. We had a G1 international event in Pakistan and G2 international events. There was 23 countries. Including USA and a British team and many other teams. There were 23 countries here in Pakistan, in Islamabad specifically. So it was achievement of our federation by a one man. He was actually a Colonel Wasim, president of Pakistan Taekwondo Federation. But rather than this person, in associations specifically, I want to mention, there are a lot of things which we need to remove and for a good, a perfect or proper professional sports promotions. Right. So there are a lot of things which we are facing, but we can do actually, we have a shadow system for associations to give them how to promote the sports without politics. Because politics always waste your talent. So this is actually something I want to see here.
Also, Mudassir Saab, a question that arises in my mind because I hear these terms Taekwondo, Kung Fu and Karate. Do we have any difference there?
Yes, every game it's based on you can say a basic point, which is always, I want to explain that you can say Taekwondo, it's actually a game. It's more than art, it's a game. And I'll explain what is the difference between Taekwondo and others, but I have to come from others before.
All right.
First, if you go for karate, it's a Japanese martial arts.
Okay.
So Japanese martial arts is actually belongs on a basic point. It's you need to make yourself strong, and you need, like if you want to hit someone, you have to make a one target, no matter where you are hitting. You have to make a one target, you have to hit it again and again, and you will get you can say a target what you want. And in Kung Fu, Chinese martial arts, when you will go in Kung Fu, there will be, their basic point is you have to make yourself speedy. Like
Okay.
when someone is hitting you one, you have to like in counter you have to hit them two. So this is the difference between Chinese and Japanese martial arts. When we'll go for Korean martial arts, it's a totally different, because it's a game of scoring. So they are saying don't use power, and stay safe and play safe, and take your points, like like you want, how you can.
I
So it's
see.
a completely scoring game where you have protectors, gears. It's right now, because it's very much advanced right now. So you have electronic gears, which are like when you are hitting, they are giving you a point. Like if you are hitting properly, professionally, perfectly, then it will give you a point. Like when you are hitting face with the simple kick, it will like automatically your system will give you a 3 points. So when you are like hitting on the chest protector, and automatically a sensor will give you 2 points if your required power is like clear there.
I
So
see.
this is actually totally completely different. I'll try to show you something to explain you. And
Wonderful. We will certainly have the practical demonstration that too from the young kiddos. I'm a bit afraid of them because I fear that what if they hit me and how I'm going to protect myself. Okay, so I'm really glad that kids are into it. So asking about it, because Pakistan is primarily a conservative society and there are a lot of parents that might have their apprehensions about sending their daughters to Taekwondo schools. How do you deal with the challenge, and have you seen this shift in the attitude changes in that sense?
actually, I want to one by one. I'll come to points. First of all, this is actually a basic reason why Pakistan have sports on you can say Olympic and the international levels. We are so weak, like we are so like away from the targets, and we are so away from the achievements. It's just because we don't have complete teams. We have boys, but we don't have girls. We don't have a competition in girls. So it's parents are reluctant about this to sending their girls. But nowadays, I think it's more better, because when we was in starting of in 2013, there was no girl was in our team. So
But now we have lots
yes,
of young girls there, and we are
and-
certainly eager to watch the practical demonstration of whatever the coach has taught them. But after a short break, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back, and as we were talking before going on to the break, that we practically have 3 young, bright little girls who are going to have a practical demonstration of what Taekwondo is. And Fahim, are you afraid of them?
Well, they do look a bit intimidating to me. Yeah.
So I think we're going to have the practical demonstration of what Taekwondo is, and we want to remove this misconception that this gives a lot of bruises to your child, because it's a very self-empowering game, right, Fahim?
Absolutely, and this is very, very important in today's world, like I mentioned before as well. And Hajra, would you like to learn it?
I would like to definitely learn it, and also it's a great escape from the extreme digitalization and how we are glued always to
yes.
the technology. So I
Oh,
think
yes.
physical exercises, mobility is always a welcome and a good respite. So kids, why don't
Now.
you come here and show us what you have got, what moves have you got?
So that we can also learn something from
So
you guys.
your coach can also
Okay.
guide you.
make a sequence over there. Say this is.
Okay, you're going out of the camera. Can you come a little closer? Yeah, like this.
Here on the
Okay.
Okay. Towards the camera. Wonderful. Ooh. So much flexibility. Wonderful.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Okay, up.
Okay, next move.
Again. Hira, come forward.
And splits.
Okay, wonderful. Go ahead.
And you know, it seems with the ease that they're doing it, it seems as if it's nothing but. I can, maybe I'll try it at home and hurt myself.
Right, wonderful.
It's brilliant,
Brilliant, wonderful, girls. Okay, can you come in front of the camera, please?
So people can
Yeah.
see you.
So people can see your faces. Yeah.
Okay.
Now.
So first, Hira, you can go back. Talim and Eliza, you have to do your part, please. Yes.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
Stop.
Oh dear.
Okay.
Talim.
Now it's getting intimidating. Wow, wonderful.
I told you I was already intimidated.
Okay. Go over there and do your head split.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
dear.
Yes. Okay. And hand split.
Lovely, lovely.
Okay. So one more. Turn your face. Step forward. Step forward. Relax. Fine. Confident. Join your legs. Join your legs. Ready? Up.
Oh, wonderful.
Lovely.
Could you do again? Quickly. Up. Okay.
Amazing.
You can do your complete set.
We have got some really good moves here.
Yes.
And good, talented girls.
From here you have to start. Step back over there. Yes. And you can come to here.
Wonderful gymnastics, right?
Wow. Do you see, Hajra, how healthy this is?
The stretching, yeah, wonderful.
My goodness.
This down. Go.
Cool, cool, girls. Wonderful. Keep it up.
Oh, wow. You know, I really want to do this.
Really? A bit scared about this. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Whoa.
I think this is a great pose, especially for the yoga too.
Okay.
Would you
we
like
have,
to try?
No,
Hell no.
We have
because I'm scared now. I need to calm myself down.
specific performance. It's about how the martial artists are different than like a regular our like humans.
How the martial artist is different from regular people. That's what Hira, that's your name, right?
Yes.
That's what Hira is going to show us.
Okay. Can anyone tie her on eyes? Excuse me. Net.
So I think we're all wired up if you can do that for
Yeah.
us.
Come here, on front of camera. So
Okay, so this is our last move because we're really short on time.
Yeah. So here we are.
her eyes are completely tied.
Okay. The eyes are totally covered.
Could you show the?
All right. All right. No, we know she can't see anything. Yes. Okay.
Mostly when I go for performance, and I mostly request to the host to come and tie this.
Right, because he's saying that mostly whenever the performances are done, he asks somebody else, a neutral person, to tie the eyes up and to cover the eyes because so that it's totally transparent. Now,
Okay, I
let's
need
see.
a silence, please.
All right.
Okay, fine.
This is the last move
Yeah.
because we're really short on time.
Okay, step. Go back. Step back. Attack.
Oh, my
whoa.
God.
Oh,
I think we don't need a carpenter for that, right?
it's lovely, man.
Lovely.
It's
Thank you
lovely.
so much, ladies.
It's brilliant, all three of you. One is Hira, and you are Talene, and you are Alize. Thank you very much, all three of you, for coming here and giving us this brilliant performance. And thank you, Mudassir Saab, for coming in and giving us your time. Brilliant performances, definitely. And I think this is a must for all those people who have children and all those people who are interested, perhaps, to try it. Well, disclaimer, don't try it at home. Yes.
Without supervision, right?
Exactly.
So without any further ado, because we're really short on time, it's a goodbye. Allah Hafiz. Until next time.
Lovely day ahead.